Hi again, this is Heather with Creativity by Heather B. Today I'm going to be showing you some of the Bo Bunny glitter paste. So I've got 6 different jars and colors that we're going to look at today. The first one is the glitter, it's pink punch. Then we have the wasabi. We've got copper. This is the silver. Orange citrus, which you can see the consistency. It's almost like a really thin, like toothpaste almost consistency. And this is the sugar. And the great thing about the sugar is you can actually mix it with inks and create any color that you want. So I'm going to mix it with some different brands of inks and show you how that works. So this is definitely, if you decide to try it out, this is definitely the one to get first, because you can, it's so versatile. You can use it for any color, any kind of ink you have, you can create that color with this. So I'm going to show you some different techniques and how you can apply the glitter ink, the glitter paste, and I'm going to use the pink punch first. And these are some of the tools, and these are actually by Bo Bunny, and they're just different tools that you can use, different spatulas. It's really a preference, whichever you want to use. The first technique I'm going to show you is going to be using the spatula. So I'm going to use the one on the left, and another thing that you can use is an ink dauber. Same thing you use to blend inks, and I'm going to show you the different techniques. And the other one, the third way I'm going to show you is just by using your fingers. So I'm going to, this is Neenah 80-pound cardstock, and I'm just going to hold it down with a little bit of washi tape just so it doesn't move around on me. And I am using a Ranger craft mat under it. So I've got these great stencils from Bo Bunny, and they're called Flower Power, and I love these stencils because they're sticky. So you don't have to worry about taping them down. They stick to your paper, they come up, they almost feel like a window cling. I accidentally ran into these and found them when I was in a scrapbook store one day a couple months ago, and I love them because I struggle sometimes with getting my stencils to stay put. So I'm going to use the 3 smaller ones to show you the 3 different techniques. The one with the spatula or the knife putty, the sponge, and then your finger. So I'm using the pink punch first, and this has a little bit of a glitter type shimmer to it. It's a little bit darker, and you'll see I'm getting it on the spatula. And on a smaller stencil like this, you'll notice it's kind of hard to keep it on the inside and just on the die. You'll notice it's kind of going out on the sides. Now, in full disclosure, I knew I wasn't going to be using this for a project, so I really wasn't trying to keep within as much. But it is a little bit more difficult, as you'll see when I use some of the other techniques. So when you put this on with the spatula, you're actually kind of putting it on, but you're pulling it off at the same time. So you're kind of, it's almost like when you ice a cake and you run the spatula or the butter knife, whatever you're using to ice it, and you kind of go over it and then you pick up some of the icing with it. It's kind of the same thing. So I've got it down, and I was trying to decide if I was going to pull them up, show them individually, and I ultimately just decided to leave it down. One tip I will say is to clean off, as I just did, the spatula, because it will harden and it just makes it more difficult. So for the second one, I'm using the copper, and I'm going to use, for this one, the ink sponge. So you can see, and when I take the foil off the top, there's so much on the top that really for all these techniques I just use that. So it just easily apply. The nice thing with this is you can kind of pat it down, you can kind of do it in a circular motion like you do when you're doing inking, whichever seems to work best for you. For me, I kind of do a little bit of both, and I love this copper color. It's so beautiful. So I'm just making sure I've got it in all the crevices. And you also notice that for this one, I did stay within even that small stencil. You have a little bit more control versus the larger spatula. And for this final one, where I used the silver, I'm actually just going to use my finger and get it off of the lid again and just dab it on, as you'll see. Trying to move the copper out of the way. One tip I will tell you is make sure that you do have some type of wet cloth. I actually was using my stamp chamois, which I probably would not typically use, but I have a new one I'm getting ready to start using, so I just use the old one. So as you can see, I'm just kind of dabbing it, almost tapping it onto the paper through the stencil, and then just smoothing it out. And this technique, obviously, you have the most control. Very simple, doesn't take very long. It's getting the rest of that excess off, and these jars will last forever. So now that I've got all three on, I'm going to start back over with the berry punch and lift that one up. And so these stencils, they just peel right off. I was trying to find a corner that wasn't so messy. So as I start to peel it, I noticed that there's an area over there to the left that still had some white in it. So the nice thing about these stencils as well is I can just lay it back down. I get back out my berry punch, get my spatula, and I can just go back over that area. These Bo Bunny stickable stencils are fabulous, and they've got them in all kinds of different designs and shapes. I've got a heart one, I've got one that's just kind of like diamonds. Okay, so now that I've got it filled back in again, I'm going to pop that one off. And there you can see the shape from the stencil. And once I get them all off, I'll move it up to the camera so you can see each one better. And the second one, which was our copper, and remember this is the one that we used the ink, the sponge dauber. And the third one, the silver, where I used my finger. So I noticed again that there was some white there that I had missed, so I'm just going to get it back out and just dab it on my finger and dab it right back on. Very simple. You can see the shine from the copper and the berry punch that this has. They all have a really pretty kind of shine and shimmer to them. So I'm pulling the silver off, and you can see the silver and the copper, how well, they stay within the stencil, and you can really see that shine there in the copper as well. So those are some different techniques for actually applying the glitter paste. So what I'm going to show you next is actually using the sugar, which is the clear, and using inks that you have on hand in your stash and creating your own custom colors, which is really fun. If you have a project, maybe you use that ink and you want to do some type of texturing with the glitter paste to match it. This is a great way to do it so that everything matches up. So I'm just cleaning off the stencils. I did not clean them as well as they should have been. I'll go back and clean those up off camera. So I'm going to get a full sheet of paper, and this time I'm going to do a large stencil. And this is a heart stencil from Echo Park. It's a beautiful stencil. And I'm going to tape it down, and I'm going to use two different inks. one from Lawn Fawn, one from Hero Arts, and then 3 distress inks. And when I do this technique, I'm actually going to use the sponge dabber for all of them. So I'll just switch them out and get different colors. So this is the stencil. See, it's a beautiful large stencil. So I'm going to tape it down just to keep it in place because this is not one of the sticky ones, so I do need to keep it in place. It is a rather thick stencil, so it's not really going to move around a whole lot as far as lifting up the actual inside of it. So the first one I'm going to start with is the Lawn Fawn Guava, and then I'm going to use the Hero Arts Green Apple, Distress Wilted Violet, Distress Salty Ocean, and Distress Abandoned Coral. I'm going to start with the guava first, and all you have to do is just tap some down on your craft mat. It does not take very much, as you'll see. Take your sugar, which is the white, and you're just going to use your spatula and you're going to mix that up. And you'll see it mixes very quickly and very easily. So you can see I'm showing you the difference already, where it's really picked up that color. So I'm going to get one of my sponges. I'm just going to dab it in the ink, and I'm going to start up on that right corner. I'm not really going in any rainbow order or anything. I'm more just kind of showing you how you can do this technique. So the guava's laid down, and if you wanted it darker, you could lay down more ink and get more sugar paste. I was just basically using whatever I put out on the craft mat. I'm going to wipe that up, switch out my sponges, and I'm going to move on to the Hero Arts Green Apple. And this is one of their bold inks. It's a great green color. So I lay down some ink, and I'm going to use my spatula once again to pull some of the sugar paste out. I believe I was getting another sponge. I'm just going to mix it up, and once again I'll pull it up and show you how easy it mixes. You can see the color already has changed. So as I'm mixing it, I'm just going to take what's on the back of my spatula. Oh, I realized that I probably needed a little bit more ink. I wanted it to have a little bit more color. So you'll notice all I did was just went right below where the paste was, because I did not want to get my ink pad in the paste. And then I just kind of worked the paste down to it. And that gave it a little bit of a darker color, because you definitely don't want to put your ink pad in the paste. And gave me that color I was looking for. So I'm just taking it straight from the spatula onto the sponge and back onto the stencil. Just being careful to get it all up. I'm overlapping a little bit. Like I said, this is more just showing the technique. And I will tell you that my camera stopped on me, and I thought I heard it. It stopped right before I got to right after I got through with the first distress. So I took a picture of what it looked like, but it's the same technique as what I'm doing every time. So I believe it's right after this one that it's going to stop, the Salty Ocean. So once I get this laid down, and this makes a beautiful blue color. You can see how pretty that blue is. It'd be gorgeous to do water with this. And I'm going to put it on my sponge, and I believe that's when my video stopped. Now another thing you can do with this is, and I'll show you a picture of a card that I made, is you can actually also use this on die cuts to give them some shimmer. I actually on the card used it on a piece of colored cardstock and just used the sugar white without adding any color to it. So there's the blue. You can see how pretty that blue is. dabbing it on. And my camera is about to shut off on me. And so there's the finished product. So you can see I went in and back in and did the purple. I actually did not use the abandoned coral. And this is the card that I made. So that was blue cardstock and I just used the shimmer. So that's it. If you have any questions or anything, comments, tips that you found for using this paste, please let me know. Awesome, easy way to add texture to your cards and just make them stand out and a little bit more unique. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you'd enjoyed it. Have a great day.